So since this animation is your 6 weeks test, I wanted to be sure you knew how to break down the parts. So where is the instructions? Okay, so we have details on, you should have spent a day last week drawing the ant and another day drawing the scene. When you drew the ant, you were supposed to separate it out into 6 sections with 6 legs, antennas even separate, everything on a separate layer. At least one eye showing, the eyes on a separate layer. Then you are also supposed to draw a scene. The scene needs a sun, which can have its rays illuminate. It needs at least one cloud with shading on the bottom. That means you're going to have to apply a gradient, or there's a shading tactic that I believe is outlined in one of these documents. Grass, a tree with leaves, and then 2 objects will fall from the tree. So we're trying to have multiple animations happening in this. Okay, let's see. Is that the main thing? Okay, ant needs to walk across the screen. Antennas need to wiggle. Text, "Where's the picnic?" will need to jiggle through the scene. 2 objects will fall from the tree. Use a minimum of 100 frames. Everything needs to be in its own layer. Okay, so far you should have drawn the ant, taken a screenshot, turned it in. That's for a grade. You should have drawn the scene, taken a screenshot of the timeline and the scene, and turned it in. That's for a grade. And finally, you need to animate the ant, and that's for the 6 weeks test grade. So first of all, I'd like to remind you of, if you have not done the scene, I did the scene. I'm not an artist. I got all these pictures from the internet. One thing we learned from the helicopter is it's easy. Let's just do a jar of pickles. Even if something doesn't have a transparent background, let's do clip art. I didn't spell that right. And to go ahead and use it. So I'll go ahead and pick one. I want to demonstrate how that would work. So first of all, you just got to slide it in. These look like they have transparent backgrounds. I want something. Okay, this has a white background. Slide that in there. Of course, I needed to have a separate layer, so I'm going to undo that. Make a layer for pickles so it doesn't merge with everything else. Pickles. Lock my other layers so I don't get it on the wrong layer. Where did it go again? Okay, here it is. Drag it in. It does not have a transparent background, but there's an easy way to get that off if I get all my slides out of the way. And that is by, I need to trace. So I'm going to go to Modify, Bitmap, Trace Bitmap. If it's not a bitmap, then you just need to convert to bitmap first. Then you can go to bitmap, trace bitmap. Works every time so far. It's been recommended that we do 100 by 100 pixels. You can try to find out what the difference is by changing it up one time, but I'm just going to keep it simple. This converts it to a vector, so it messes it up a little bit. And if you don't like how it messes it up, then you may want to try a different picture. Yeah, I may want to try a different picture. I don't like that. So I'm just going to undo Command-Z, Command-Z, Command-Z. And now I'm just going to delete that and get a different one. Because once it converts it to a vector, it tries to estimate where the lines are in your vector. So back to pickle jar clip art. Images. Okay, let's try this. I don't know why I would want cucumbers. Okay, see, it looked like a transparent background. It wasn't, but I got a solution for that problem. Click bitmap. I can trace it. So trace bitmap. 100 by 100. There we go. That's more realistic of a change. Delete, 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 delete. It's all grouped. Now I want to resize it. So of course I need to select it. I have all my other layers locked, so it's not selecting anything else. I'm going to go to the transform tool, adjust the size, and add that to my map. Okay, so that's just to update you on that part. Now, the ant is the other big thing. You can see I have all my stuff from the scene in here, and I have the ant in here. But I do not have the ant's parts. That's because I chose to do, like what they did with the helicopter, where I'm going to make a symbol within the symbol. So, thank you, Carlene. I got to borrow her ant that she had mapped out. But let's go ahead and Where is that ant? I think he's off stage. Here's the ant. So of course, to get to the stuff inside his symbol, I need to double click him. Let me unlock him. Double click him. And now I have the ant's symbol, but I don't have anything in here. So let me just go ahead and click his head because I have his head. So what had happened was Carlene took the lasso tool, and you can see in her properties, she labeled antenna 1, antenna 2. I would recommend labeling antenna left, antenna right, so you remember which way was antenna 1 and 2. I1, I2, and then after that, you got to make the head a symbol all itself. So after she let me borrow her ant, I just used the lasso tool and circled around the head and called it head with ant. Okay, then I had to delete the parts and rebuild them each onto their own layer. So I deleted each eye. I guess I can demonstrate. And you can see there's a hole in the eye. So what I did is I just made them a bit bigger. And then I just made a layer for antenna 1 left, made a layer for antenna right, and placed them back just by dragging them onto here. Okay, I'm going to undo that though because I want you to see. Command Z until I get everything back. Then I decided, okay, I'll stretch this out. I'll let the animation repeat itself. And let's make this one wiggle right here, and I'll add tweens between them so it's just like a constant wiggle. So let me just turn off all those. The eye's just wiggling a little bit, changing size a little bit. And now this one, that eye's doing that. And the antennas, I tried tweens, but they did something funny, so I ended up changing it to frame by frame on those. And then the head, I just have it so that it sits there the whole time. Okay, so that's what I did. Now, it may not be understandable for you just to hear it like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out of this and now try to add the legs to demonstrate for you. So